Greetings, family. We're going to be live today. We're going to be talking about the hospitality industry. We're talking to Sister Janel Muhammad with Destination Own. So get your coffee, sit back, get a notebook, get ready to learn, because we're about to introduce you to another industry disruptor and another emerging market leader here today on the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. So stay tuned.
You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show with your host, myself, Sajdah, Wendy Muhammad. I am a multi-million-dollar business developer. I have developed business and real estate around the world, and I want to share with you my mental strategies, my technical strategies, and how I made it in the world of business. So I don't teach theory. I tell you about my life and introduce you to people who can also share with you what they've done to become successful. This is a practical show. This ain't a theory show. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I need you.
Blessings, family. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sajdah, Wendy Muhammad, and y'all know that I have been on a mission to introduce to you these wonderful emerging new market leaders and industry disruptors from the Mo Today Black Muslim Business Directory. And so I'm working on new platforms and other ways to get the word out there about you. So we picked 19 shows to test out on our new Roku network called Mo Today. So if you have Roku TV, and if you bought a TV in the last 2 years, they're all equipped with Roku at this point. Go out there and add the Mind of an Entrepreneur show to your channel list. The icon's gonna be Mo Today, and you should see it right here in the corner. And get access to the channel, and you will start to see some of our wonderful shows that are listed up here on our new Roku channel. This is just a little tester. Let's see if y'all like it. Let me know in the chat what you think, and go out there and add the channel to your Roku lineup. Let me show you what it looks like to your Roku lineup. Let's see, it'll look like that. There it is. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome again to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. And we are talking today about the hospitality industry. And before we jump into this discussion, I see you all coming in on the live. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you are here and where you're chiming in from. And I'm going to take a moment to show you two other special announcements. One about the commemorative Elijah coins that we need you to go out there and get your purchase. Order your coin today. Listen, as we're planning our upcoming events for Savior's Day, for as the house gets to the point where we can start taking you in there, we're going to make a priority to those who are coin holders. So don't call me if you ain't no coin holder and you're not on the list saying, yeah, but I want to get in and I want to come, because I got to give priority to. That's kind of how we're going to set the priority to people who have already been supportive. So sit back, let me know in the chat where you're chiming in from, and we'll be right back after a word from two of our sponsors. And we'll be talking to our sister, Janel Muhammad. So be right back.
To share with you some of the magnificent and triumphant teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. When we say magnificent and triumphant teachings, these two words, magnificent and triumphant, are adjectives that describe the teaching of Elijah Muhammad. That which is magnificent is that which is supremely great. That which is triumphant is that which is powerful enough to overcome obstacles. Think of it, black man and woman. There is a teaching in America for you that is supremely great, meaning that it is a teaching above all other teachings that have ever entered the ears of a black man and woman.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
We're back, and you're tuned into the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. I'm going to bring my sister Janel right on into the conversation, and we're going to get started. Assalamu alaikum, sis.
Walaikum salam. Thank you. I had to unmute myself.
That's okay. That's all right. This happened. This is like live TV, right? So we're here today, and we finally get a chance to see each other face to face. And as you mentioned, paths sort of semi-crossed many years ago. And I'm so excited to learn from you today, to hear more about you today, Sister Janel. So tell us about destination own. And I say it like that because I love the hospitality industry. One of the businesses that I used to tell my father that I wanted to open was a hotel. And so I still am just really focused on doing a really nice boutique hotel and bed and breakfast here in Chicago. And so I just want to learn from you, sis. Talk to me about Destination Own.
Okay. Well, thank you again for having me.
Absolutely.
So Destination Own is, you say industry disruptors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking about 3 industries and putting them into one, and I created my own industry. And I call it real estate tourism.
I love it.
So I started out just being a real estate agent, and I love to travel. So I became a travel agent. And then I started doing real estate tours. And when you say, what's travel without cruising? So now that's my next step. My next step is to get in the cruise lines. And basically what it is, I act as a buyer's agent for people who are interested in moving outside of the country. Nice. So yeah, I set up tours. I take people out individually, and I'm still, discussing with the cruise lines, trying to get something solid. But right now I'm just going to start doing my own real estate excursions.
That's nice. So, because here's the thing, I've traveled extensively overseas, and I've gone with business delegations. I've gone with focused delegations, like focused on certain industries. And I've always liked those because then you get to build in some personal stuff, but then there's the structure of the tour. And oftentimes when I've gone by myself, if I didn't have a person there on the other side to kind of help me structure things, it was a challenge. So when I think about what you're doing, and so many people coming to me saying, hey, I want to go to South Africa. I love South Africa. I love Johannesburg. Or they'll say, I want to go to Italy. Or they say, I want to go to Nigeria. Those are actually 3 of my favorite places for different reasons. I think about somebody like yourself. And I've met these kind of people on trips before who coordinate the trip, kind of put together the interests of the travelers and things like that. Now, my only drawback is that I don't like cruises. So how can you help me? Let's say I'm ready to take a delegation to Johannesburg, and I come to Sister Janel. What can I expect?
Okay, so I pride myself on kind of making yours. So we sit down, we discuss what you want to do. Of course, the focus is real estate. So we focus on what else you want to do, and I build a trip for you that way.
Right.
Everyone in your party may be, on the same level as you, like looking for real estate. So we find out budgets, we find out what you want out of it, if you want to finance something. So it's just different for everybody. We really build the trip out for you. We have people who can help you with building businesses, anything that you need having to do with relocation. We find you. And we work through, let's say Ghana, because we're taking a tour to Ghana in March. Yep. So I work through several layers of people that I've been working with in Ghana for years, but I'm working through them. It's like, if you need a lawyer, an accountant, an architect, a builder. So it's
kind
like
of your own gold key service, sort of like, how the Department of Commerce has the gold key service. So you're kind of like your own gold key service. And I love that because I love going with business intentions, because then it becomes a business trip, right? And we can write it off. So say we want to go to, South Africa, get some real estate, and then also tour and travel. To me, that's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And we make it fun. We have expat outings. So you're getting to meet like a community of people that you're hopefully moving into, or if you're investing, it's kind of like a built-in network of people that will be renting from you.
Okay. What's about the average length of the trip that we could put together?
So it depends on location as well. When I'm going to Ghana, different parts of Africa. It depends on who I'm taking also. Is it your first time? But I like to do 2 weeks in Ghana because we hit 3 different cities, 4 different cities. But I just started some investor tours. So those are going to be like maybe 4 days closer, something really quick. If somebody just wants to go in and throw some money around, we can do that in 4 or 5 days. So it just depends. A lot depends on the client. I try to build my tours out for, people who have more time.
Yeah.
But when it comes to investors, they just want to get in, get out.
So currently the Black Muslim Business Directory is partnering with the National Muslim Business Council. They are currently planning a trip to Sierra Leone. I'm not going on that trip, but one of the upcoming trips I will be going on. And one of the things that I've been doing for a lot of the companies that have come to us who want to do business in Africa, we're teaching like weekly and monthly business development where I'm offering services to build their businesses. So if you have any clients that say, hey, I want a seasoned consultant that can help me build my business, whether it's here or in Africa or any other company, we can certainly offer those services to them for a fee. But in this particular case, and I'm really grateful to have this conversation with you, because we are starting to get a lot of people at different levels who want to expand into international trade and commerce. Many people know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did have an import and export business in the late 60s. They imported somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 to $3 million worth of goods. And then, as you know, millions of pounds of fish from Peru, but items from Japan and Korea, like household goods. And so a lot of people have been interested in that. And they're like, look, I want to try this. But one of the things I've had to teach people is about how to do business in Africa. And of course, Ghana, when you go to Accra, is different. But we as African Americans, as Black people here in America, we have a romance with Africa that we got to get over so that we're more practical and focused and determined. Talk to me a little bit about how you see that, because we all think that people are going to be on the shorelines clapping for us, and we don't realize that we're probably some of the most Black conscious people on the planet here in America.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And it is an education. And we focus on that when we're taking people. I tell them, like, it's going to be respect. So I get the good and the bad. People do romanticize it, but then other people, they still have a fear, and they still have, they carry that American arrogance.
Yeah,
so
there it is.
It's kind of like I have to debrief people before we go, as we're there sometimes, in our conversations. We want to go, I always say we don't want to go as like brand new colonizers, like baby colonizers.
There it is.
And we don't want to go there and be, the savior either. It's kind of like, just go with good intentions and a plan, because we also don't want to try to go and take anyone's jobs. So that's a conversation I have to have with a lot of people.
I have this process that I call being a conscious entrepreneur, where you move away from predatory capitalism and into a way of introducing goods and services to your people around the world, really focusing on Black first, but obviously doing business with everyone, but really trying to make it conscious about, or be conscious about, uplifting our people. So you're right. Some of us don't even realize that we have a colonizer mindset or a predatory mindset. So when we get ready to go overseas, we come right with that predatory colonizer mentality. And that's just a recipe for disaster.
It is. It is. And that's something else we do, like going with the tours. We make it so it's relaxed enough so that you can, see the flow of things, meet the people. We put you in situations and settings where you really get to see, oh, okay, these are just just people just like me. They want the same things that I want. You know, they don't want to be taken advantage of. They trying to make a dollar stretch, you know, but they're not subjects.
Yes. Yes. So generally when I go and I advise people to go, I have them to go through, we either go through like the embassy or the Department of Commerce or some kind of way we set up something where they can actually meet potential partners, like you said, potential renters, since this is real estate focused, and to understand how to do business. Because, for example, I did some stuff in Liberia one time and the money is stuck over there and so I tell people, I say, what you want is to go over there, do business, and to be able to come home, use your ATM card and access that money. And so how do you bridge the gap of there being different systems? You got like the French system in certain parts of Africa. You got in English, the British system. You know, you got the Dutch. You got all of these different types of systems. And then how do you, so it's a twofold question. How do you bridge that gap and help people to be able to monetize the businesses and actually, you know, bring their money home if they want? And then how do they find good partners so that they know that if they buy real estate there, that they can trust it, especially if they're not looking to leave America?
Yeah. So I've been really lucky so far that, well, lucky, and I surround myself with the right people, I should say.
Yes.
I'm in several different associations through real estate that connect me to other associations. So everything is done. I feel like it's in-house, even though it's not in-house, but I consider them a family of agents and architects and, you know, so I go through my resources.
Yes.
And I hate to be so vague, but I really don't mess with outside people until they're vetted by some of my other resources. So
That's
we just
smart,
take it
that's
slow.
what I wanted to hear. You're not being vague. That's exactly what I wanted to hear you say, because I want our audience to understand that working with somebody like you or other people, make sure that the resources are vetted. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard so many stories. My girlfriend has an uncle in Ghana, and they're selling me this land, and it's like, okay, let me know how it works out, you know. And you know, sometimes it works, but then sometimes it'll work for a while, and then you're getting, you know, the boot because that land wasn't supposed to be sold, and it's not even always malicious. You know, a lot of people still come to me with that, you know, I don't want to get taken advantage of. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's like, not everybody is trying to scam you, but sometimes people just don't know what they're doing. So what we do is start from the bottom and make sure every step, you know what you're doing. You know what you're getting into, you know, lands commission, like whatever country you're going into, we're making sure that this is a viable deal and that you're not going to get the boot. You know, and then they, you know, come, you know, I tell people, you know, eminent domain is real in the US. So it's possible in some scenario that you may have to give up a piece of your land or whatever the situation is, but you'll be, you know, you'll be compensated. So it's the same here in the US, you know. I get a lot of that though.
Yeah.
I think it's just fear.
It is. It's fear. It's the unknown, right? We are so used to doing things in the States, which are done a certain way. And we sometimes don't respect the fact that there's an educational process when you get ready to go to other places. And sometimes we think Africa as like a big country, but it's a continent with a lot of different countries in it, right? That you do business differently in. So I wanted to ask a question. I know when it comes to land ownership and real estate. Did we lose you, sis? It looks like you froze. Oh, there you are. In some countries, you cannot own land unless you're a citizen, and there's a 99-year lease that you do. Talk about that a little bit, about what you've seen and how people have been able to move around that issue.
Okay. Well, there are a few ways, and of course, like you said, it's a continent. So if we're still sticking with Africa, is different country by country. So there are a couple ways in Ghana, if I can remember them all. You can buy freehold land, which is yours. You can have a partner, like whether it's a business partner or you got. So then you would be like co-owner. You could lease, do the 99-year lease, which Ghanaians also have. It's not your citizenship status. A lot of times it's the actual property.
Yes.
Stool, this is what I can remember
Janel,
right now. Stool land is a little different.
We're getting a really bad echo
because it's owned by royalty, and you know, you kind of work that.
Okay, it looks like our sister is her feed is blurring, so we'll give it a couple minutes to see if it can come back. But what she was talking about is that there's different ways in which you can own the rights to land, and she was specifically talking about Ghana. And I was going to ask her, I know we honed in on Africa, but I wanted to talk about other places around the world. There's Belize that's becoming very popular with our people, Costa Rica, and some of the other destinations. Looks like she's still frozen. Okay, some of those other destinations that we want to talk about. But yes, you can, a lot of it depends on the land. The government sometimes does issue freehold land. So she went out. I think she's going to come back in. Sometimes the government issues freehold land. I've seen that in Nigeria, like on the Lekki Free Trade State. I've seen it in Ghana, is it Apollonia City, maybe one of those. I've seen that there where there's freehold land. I've also seen it where you could do a 99-year lease, whether it's you or a partner. I've seen where you can partner and have somebody there on the ground, so you have boots on the ground for your property. So it looks like my sis is coming back. And I've also seen it where people get citizenship. So that's also possible as well. Okay, you're back. I was kind of filling in for you while you were gone, sis. I think you're on mute still. One of the questions I wanted to move into, and I know you and I just a lot guided the conversation to Africa, but I wanted to think about or have a conversation about some of the other areas, like Belize is becoming very popular for our people, Costa Rica, and some of the other destinations where you offer tours where people can purchase land outside of Africa if they're not ready for Africa or not interested in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and I heard what you were saying. I don't know what happened. I was sitting here like listening to you teach. So yeah, so we do tours all over the world. You know, Philippines, Kenya, Mexico, Brazil. We don't stick to one part, and because I believe you can go anywhere. That's one of our logos or slogans, rather. Live anywhere. And then it's like, where do you want to live? That's another slogan. So you get to like go into your mind and answer that question. Where do I want to live? But yeah, like you were saying, there are different ways of ownership in different parts of the world. So, and with each person, it's hard for me to talk about this subject in general because everything is different for each person.
So your approach is customized, right?
Yes, absolutely customized. Are you going in with cash? Are you going in needing to, finance something? What's your budget? Of course, the budget is big. What are the reasons that you're going? What's your motivation for wanting to move? Do you have family coming with you? There's so many, we really piece it together so that you feel taken care of.
Somebody just asked a question, and this one I get a lot. How can we make sure that our finances can be accessed while living abroad?
Okay, so, of course, there are different ways through, they have so many different apps, right? Ooh, sorry. Thought I silenced that. But I use a money mover. It's a third party company that you use when purchasing real estate. They can move your money. They can change it for you, things like that. So I send people to them, and you can set up an account with them, and then you have access to use your money, whatever type of money you're dealing with, whatever country, they handle all of that.
Yeah, they handle.
So it's almost like having another bank account, or like a third party that attaches those two bank accounts,
right?
So that you will have, access to your money whenever you need it.
Yep. That's the same thing we advise with some of the programs that we work with is, do it that way. I also wanted to just kind of go into, because some people are thinking, I want to go. Sometimes what happens is we kind of do like this crowd thing as Americans. So everybody starts going to Ghana. One artist, one star goes to Ghana. So now everybody wants to go there. So it's kind of like, okay, certain people see us coming. So what are some of the other areas if people just say, you know what, I want to be a trailblazer? What's a good, comfortable area where I can go that people are going, but it's not oversaturated like some of the other stuff that I've seen that have been popularized in pop culture?
Right. So real estate wise, and I guess investment wise.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just keep it together, right?
It's an investment, right?
I'm sorry?
The real estate's an investment, right?
It's an investment, yes. So I like to tell people Vietnam. We're going to plan a trip to Vietnam this year. Mm-hmm. Some of the closer ones would be like Ecuador, Nicaragua. Mm-hmm. They're on the map, but they're not on the map, right?
Yep.
Brazil is another place that we're interested in. Everywhere that we have a trip coming is where I'm suggesting that we go. Of course, a lot of people like to go to Thailand, and that's still not, oversaturated, but that's still one I'd tell people to check out.
Nicaragua is a good one. I spent some time in Nicaragua many years ago, and for one, it's beautiful. They have an English-speaking side of Nicaragua, so on a particular part of it, there's no language barrier if you don't speak Spanish. Mm-hmm. But it's a great place. People are starting to buy there, as well as Honduras.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. People are starting to go there as well. I know everybody's in Belize, everybody's in Ghana, but
yeah, and it's funny because the tours that I do, like to Ghana, and Ghana is kind of like a staple. Like you have to do Ghana, right?
Yeah.
But I started with Panama when I started this company. Mm-hmm. I started with Panama. I was like Panama, Ghana, and I forgot where else. But I kind of became known as the Ghana girl, and I didn't want that. It's like I felt like I was, So I've been telling people what they think are off the wall places, but I'm like, I promise you, just check it out. Because another thing, we're all looking for somewhere we can go and live like a king. But I'm like, that really doesn't exist anymore, because they see you coming. The internet has made the world very small. So wherever you go, you're going to want your creature comforts. You're going to want to make sure that they have an infrastructure in place for, internet, water. We're too spoiled to just go and live anywhere.
Exactly.
So wherever you go, because you're paying for, your creature comforts.
Mm-hmm. Sister Janel, how did you get into this industry, and what made you go into this?
So I, like I said, I've always loved traveling, and I've always loved real estate. And I was on a cruise, and I think it was in Bermuda, and there were so many for sale signs and for rent signs. And it was like, I only had 6 hours. And I don't even think my phone was like international at that point. So it's kind of like, well, who do I call? What do I do? And I was like, well, there is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just walk around the island looking at the outsides of real estate and then get back on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, because I had thought about it before. And that's how it started, as wanting to do real estate excursions. And the tours came up because it's so hard to break into the cruise industry. So that's when I started focusing on tours. But the cruise industry is really where I want to be.
Mm-hmm. What's your background?
Meaning
educational, experience-wise. I know you were in Bermuda, but there's people watching going, man, they're looking at you, they're marveling at you, they're excited about what you're doing, and they're saying to themselves, how do I do something in the industry that I'm into? What's her background? Where's she from? How does she do this?
So my background has nothing to do with what I'm doing. That's why I'm like, what are you talking about exactly?
Mm-hmm.
I went to school for fashion design. That's still something that I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
But this just happened. So I was a single mother for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed to survive. So I ended up getting into the film industry. So I involved in the film industry, still involved with the film industry. But so my background doesn't have anything. This is just a passion mixed with another passion, mixed with another passion. And I guess it was a sense of feeling like I was running out of time to do what I really wanted to do in this life. So I started the business prior to COVID. And, we were, starting off slow, but making traction. I was meeting with a bunch of cruise lines. I had one that was really interested in me, and we were going to sit down and talk that January. But then, of course, by that time, the cruise lines were already going down. So it's kind of been like a waiting game. I had to shut everything down. Nobody was traveling anywhere, of course, because everybody was stuck somewhere. So we're really just getting started again. But we're, just trying to do everything over.
Sis, this is the way I look at things. I'm one of those persons, I'm very diversified.
Mm-hmm.
So people will sit down and say, well, oh, you do this and you do that. I believe there's no limitation on me as a God. And so whatever I have interest in, if I want to focus on it, if I want to do it, I can go into it, I can do it, I can be successful. And so oftentimes we feel some kind of way when maybe we didn't have a quote unquote background in something, but those are generally the people who do really well. So whether it's, film industry, you went to school for fashion design, now you're doing film. It's people who go to college and major in film and filmmaking, but they never do anything successful in it. And then people come into the industry who become filmmakers, award-winning filmmakers, and they never touched a book on the subject. So I just believe in the energy and the vibration of what it is that I want to do, that I'm called to do, and using my skill sets and my belief, my audacity of hope, if you will, to push my way through and become successful at whatever it is that I want to do. I mean, there's challenges, right? But I appreciate you saying that, because you didn't put a limitation on yourself. You said, I like this. I think I want to go into this. And I'm still involved in the film industry, and I'm still interested in fashion design.
Right. And that's beautiful. Thank you so much for saying that, because that made me feel better, because it is hard to wake up every day and say, okay, I can do this, because there's so much saying that you can't. You got the bills coming in, and, people in your life who don't believe in you and won't support you. So making that decision every day to keep going it's really difficult, but it's so far it's paying off. So just hearing you say that, it touches my heart.
Yeah, you have to keep going, because you're right, there's so many other forces, and a lot of people, it's not even that they don't believe in you, they're just afraid for you. not only that, some of them are just afraid for you. And then there's other people who are looking at you based on their own personal limitations. And they may be somebody that loves you very well, very much. And that's okay too, right? So we just keep going. And it takes a special breed of people to say, you know what? I think differently. I think outside the box, and it's okay. And you can be okay, being a person who's striving to become a God in this world and being diverse about what it is that you want to do. That's a very conquerors. See, the conquerors put us in certain categories, in certain boxes. Right? They said, this person is good for sewing, and that person is good for being a handmaiden, and that person's good for being an ironsmith. And so these categories that we were put into, which made us more packageable and sellable, so we were packaged so that we could sell, then the whole world, especially in the US, began to package people and sell them. So you go to college, you major in this, you get a job, and those are all the descriptions that are on your package, so that the person who wants to come and buy you, meaning employ you or whatever, knows what they're purchasing. And so when what you and I are talking about is coming out of that packaging and saying, here's my reality as a God, and I want to be paid and be able to sustain myself for being who I am. So that's the challenge, because people can't wrap their minds around the fact that they're still thinking like a colonizer, because that's what they've been taught. These are the things that I do. It's a package. You on the slave block, they say, this is Janel, and she's good with this and this and this, and they put 10 attributes there. Person comes, gives their money because they're buying those 10 attributes. We fast forward through the Industrial Revolution. Everybody comes, they fill out an application, they give a resume. It says, this one's a teacher, this one's a nurse, this one does this one does that. Because the person who's trying to employ you or buy you, and I'm saying it again, knows what they're buying. Because I really want people to get this.
That's amazing.
I'll give you an example. I spent 12 years in the healthcare industry. I received an honorary doctorate's degree because I shadowed so much with the surgeons and the doctors, and I got so good at medicine that I could literally see and evaluate a patient, write a report, and the doctor would look at it and say, what school did you go to? That's because I studied under doctors. I didn't go to school and go through the chemistry and the biology. I studied with doctors. This is what you do. This is what you look for. This is how you move. This is what you recommend. This is how you evaluate. This is how you medically optimize. And over the course of 12 years, day in and day out, I became an honorary doctor. Now, I don't hold that out there as something but what I can do is help my family and friends when it comes to advising on that level. And I can build a hospital, and I can do things that a lot of people who got degrees in that industry can't do. So it's not about me, but I'm saying it for you because I want you to be free from those labels, especially as a single mother. See, because the pressure becomes, I'm out here, I'm by myself, I got these bills, I got to take care of these children, or grandchildren, or whatever we're taking care of. And so I better stick with the packaging so that somebody can come and buy me. Otherwise, I'm not going to make it. And that's not necessarily true. You got to know when to use that packaging and when not. So liberate yourself from that thought. This is one of the many things that you do, which is God's expression through you.
Amen.
That's it. Amen.
That is it. That was like a whole word. Yes. Yeah, so true. I wholeheartedly believe that. My list is long.
Let that go and just have the audacity of hope. That's from Barack Obama, President Barack Obama. Have the audacity to hope and then believe you ultimately, because the belief is just, and I'm sorry, I'm turning into a church lady, but I just feel like I need to say this to you. See, the faith, which is the substance of things hoped for, the substance is information. A lot of people don't get that. They say, oh, it's the sub. Well, how do you know that you do? You can't just say you believe. Because, see, God is going to try you. We know that from the Holy Quran. You could say, I believe in this or that. Well, why do you believe? So you need data points and information. Otherwise, you're just going to believe, but your belief is going to be in a spook God. To make your belief in a material manifested God and to create, and for you to become a manifester, you have to get out there, get your feet wet, get more information and pull down on that information. And now you start learning how to materialize your ideas and how to manifest. And you no longer believe in a spook God, which produces nothing or waits for somebody else to feed them. You become a manifester and on the road to becoming a God yourself. So that's why the substance in that Bible verse, faith is the substance of things hoped for. You can't just say you believe. See, that's old school. That's what we were taught. I believe. No, you don't. You can say, I really believe in Jesus, but yet you're sitting here waiting on somebody to come give you something.
Right.
Jesus turned water into wine.
Yes. Yeah. And I can bear witness to that with so many different like stories of things that I had to go through. Like starting this, that's all I did have was a belief. And it wasn't until I started like, investing in myself, going to these seminars and conferences and, places I didn't belong,
That's right.
And that's when I started to really believe. And that's what keeps me going.
That's when you got the information that you then could rely on. It's a big math problem. You started to solve some of the unknown variables because you received information and now you can build level after level after level. But you could have just sat at home and said, I believe that I can do this and do nothing.
Right. Right.
So Jack's House has a question. He said, how do you evaluate the long-term stability of the country as it relates to a real estate investment?
Okay. I would say basically do your research. Of course, it's just like any country like the US. Go through the past and see the cycles because there are cycles everywhere. And then just know that, like the pandemic happened, there's no way of really knowing. So you just do your due diligence to find out everything that you can to make yourself feel comfortable. I would say, like, who saw Tulum coming? Tulum is really big right now. This small town in Mexico. Like, I went to Tulum a couple years ago. Maybe it was like 6-8 years ago. We went to Tulum just riding through to go to Chichen Itza. And it was like this little tiny place that you just pass through. It was nothing. Now, all of a sudden, this is within 6 years, they have over 600 development projects going on right now. I just got off the phone with one of my agents. We're doing a tour in January to Tulum. He was like, it's so easy for people to make money here. Not to make it sound scammy, but, they start the building. They look for investors. You buy it, I think 30% undervalued. And by the time it's finished, you can resell it and make the ROI is what? I think he was saying 10% or I have it all written down. Sorry, I wasn't thinking about talking about Tulum today.
Okay.
But so it's like that's a form of flipping houses that, we don't think of over here. We come and we, buy a beat up house and then we got to put all this work into it and have all these carrying costs and, and then, walk away with 50,000, and that's good. But, you can just put your money out there and let it work for you. And there's so many places around the world that you can do that. Tulum just came out of nowhere. So looking at countries, of course, you have to do your research, but it's going to come down to you just making a decision and trusting yourself. Like,
Yeah.
there's really no other way around it.
And what I would add to that, sis, is yes, do your research. Understand what your risk tolerance is.
Yes.
Okay. Also, again, and this is why it's good to travel. I encourage you to take some of these trips with our sis so that you can learn, because what happens here in the States is that the success and the success brings about a safety that kind of weakens us.
Mm-hmm.
So your success can weaken you. And what does that mean? That means that then we start to think that we really don't need to research. If we don't research, we put our money in, we put our blinders on and go, did I get it back? Did I get it back? And when it doesn't come back, or it doesn't come back in the amount of time we want, or it doesn't work out, we're looking for somebody else to blame. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that that's what Jack's House is doing, but I'm just saying I've seen this before where people just don't want to dig in and do their due diligence. If you are interested in something, you should be studying it. I'm the kind of person, if I want to understand the financial markets, look, I'm looking at Squawk Box every day. No plug for Squawk Box, but I just like it because they interview tons of CEOs and executives. And so it helps me to learn and understand. If I want to know more about Nicaragua, I'm on YouTube binging about the country, getting a feel for it, understanding it, looking at business there. What are the opportunities? What has happened, both good and bad? And then I can evaluate. Then I talk to people. I'm going to talk to people like you, sis. I'm going to talk to other people. I may say, hey, sis, do you know any other people that I can talk to who've actually done this? Mm-hmm. So the research is important. It's critical.
Yeah. And really, when you're talking about international real estate, going is very important. Like, I've had a client who just purchased by my word and basically online. You know, we went to Kenya later, but she trusted me enough to just go ahead and do it. Everything is great, but I wouldn't always suggest that. And I told her, don't you want to go first? And she's like, no, I'm just ready. But I always suggest, and if you're just a consumer going to purchase a house, not an investor, I say the same thing. Rent for 3 to 6 months. Mm-hmm. Don't just jump into it. Don't just go because I'm saying buy, or because I would never tell you to buy. But of course, the agents, they're trying to get you to buy, but rent first. You know, do like a little test. You may find a place and decide within 2 weeks that you hate it there because you weren't there during the tourism season and this season and it floods and you know, and they don't have, everywhere you go is not going to have a system set up like you're used to here in the US. There you go. All these disclosures and you know, that doesn't always exist. Mm-hmm. A good agent would know what to warn you about, but they're also working for the seller. So, and that's another reason that I started my business. So you don't have representation when you go to Ghana. Mm-hmm. You're working with one agent who's trying to sell that house. Sometimes it's by any means necessary. So that's why I say, you know what, bring me along and we can make sure that you are covered. Yeah. But yeah, you have to do the research. You have to see it. You have to touch it. You have to smell it. See what it's like at nighttime. See what it's like on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. You know, just get out there and you know, and enjoy it because you're traveling.
That's right. I say that. I tell people rent for a year and go back and forth there and see what it's like. See what it's like getting in and out of there, you know. And it's just like when you buy something here in the States, oftentimes we're so spoiled, we just go and buy. But, you know, maybe you should check it out. Go past there at night. See what the grocery stores are like. If you're at home and you got to run to the grocery store at the last minute right before cooking, are there resources around you where you can do that? I know somebody who bought a place in Italy along the Amalfi Coast. It's gorgeous, but it is up a giant hill. So when she goes to the market, you got to walk because you park at the bottom and the cars can't get up there. The home is gorgeous. The view is gorgeous, but she literally has like a grocery backpack. She puts on her back and goes up the hill, drops the stuff, comes back down. She didn't think about that.
Right.
When it comes to appliances, like she wanted to order a washing machine, and they had to get that thing up that hill. So, there's all those kind of things to think about. I have an idea, Sister Janel. Let's talk afterwards, and let's take a delegation from the Black Muslim Business Directory of serious people who want to maybe get involved on one of your upcoming destination tours. And I'll have you say what are your next 3 if you got between now and spring. And they can get signed up and start to think about with taking people like us with them, what it is like to do business in these places. So what are your next 3 destinations that we could probably organize and get people to go on?
Okay, my next 3. So I'm starting 2023 off, with a bang. I'm doing 1 per month. So my next 3 is we're going to Tulum in January. We're doing Colombia in February, and then Ghana in March. And Ghana's the big booty out for 2 weeks.
Okay. So what about Tulum?
But the other 2 trips are like investor tours. And being that I travel agent, Tulum is 4 days. It is the 22nd of January. Colombia, the February 16th. March 7th through March 8th.
Okay.
But
so
I have the next 6 months. I'm doing it like 6 months, already set up.
Okay. So right now we know we're talking about Tulum in January, Colombia in February, and you and I will get together. I'll send you an invite. We'll get together and talk about maybe the next 6 and putting something together to try to encourage people to become a part of it so that they can at least begin their educational process through you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. Anything else you want to say or talk about? So stay tuned because Sister Janel and I are going to roll that out. I'm going to send you an invite right after we get off of here.
Okay. Yes, thank you. This was amazing. It was so easy. It was just like, chit-chatting about real estate. I love it.
That's it. That's all it is, sis. Thank you so much. We will talk very, very soon. And thank you, everybody. Get started. Go to destinationown.com and peruse around Sister's site. We're going to start to put something out there so that you can get on these trips over the course of the next 6 months, or you may just want to go once a month. Every time she goes, you just might want to go. Trust me, you won't miss it. You're just talking 4 days. You just need to crunch it down. And trust me, your eyes will change. Your mind will change. You'll see differently. You'll feel differently. So we're going to talk about that. All right. Thank you, sis. Peace and blessings. And we'll chat in a few. One more thing? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I did want to say one more thing. I'm sorry. So also in the month of February, I'm starting my investor association where we're going to have education for each country that we're going to. And there's like a lot of fun stuff, a lot of knowledge that you'll be able to learn. And that's going to be like a subscription service we're going to roll out in January as well.
Let's talk about that when we have our conversation, and then we'll talk about these are some additional educational tools that you can be a part of if you're interested in expanding your business internationally.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. That's it, y'all. Another industry disruptor, a mover and shaker, an emerging market leader in the hospitality and real estate. She literally has created her own industry where where she's merged these industries together. And I'm so excited to start working with her on this. Stay tuned. I'm going to, true to my word, I'm going to send her an invite. We're going to have a conversation, inshallah, this week about how we can get you all involved in some of these upcoming trips. And I think it's an easy way. It's not as much pressure. You can go, you can learn. And then once you go and learn, you might want to go on 2 or 3 of the trips and then pick one. Because oftentimes when you travel internationally, there's a particular land, there's a particular, like me, I love water, but I don't like cruises. So there's certain waterways, or there's something about the culture that attracts you. It just reaches up in your soul and grabs you. And so these opportunities help you to know what you're going to like and what you're interested in and how to move forward. So with that, you all, thank you very much. Listen, y'all know it takes money to be conscious and independent. You got to get your commemorative Elijah coin. You got to get ready to go on these international trips. You got to get ready to invest in real estate. So look, stick with us and we'll take you around the world, inshallah. And stay tuned. There's lots of great things coming up. Please, you all see going across the screen here to get you all to purchase your commemorative Elijah coin. This is helping us to finish the Honorable Elijah Muhammad house without taking on any debt. And I am I'm focused and steadfast and really staying at peace about not taking on any debt and getting the house done. And so we need your support in order to do that. And so what we want you to do is go to sajdahhouse.com, get your commemorative Elijah coin, or go to sajdahhousedonations.com and make a donation. And I'm going to put our Cash App up here, which is $Mo Today, MOETODAY, for you to just go out there and give something. When you receive information like this, you got to get in the habit of giving. There are some of you, and I'm so grateful that every time you watch something on this channel, you give $5 or $10. And I appreciate it. That seems very small, but it says something to me about how you value the information on this channel and the work that I'm doing. And that energy, that vibration translates into other revenues for me. So go out there, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 25,000, give something right there on the chat. And that helps us to keep this network going. Make sure you add us on your Roku TV channel. And we're going to go out with a word from our sponsors, the Minimally Invasive Vascular Center. So stay tuned and we'll be back soon. Peace and blessings.
Enjoying precious moments with family and friends is what the holidays are all about. Taking care of your health is also important. Peripheral artery disease, also known as PAD, is a serious medical condition affecting 8.5 million American adults. If you're experiencing leg pain, leg swelling, or difficulty exercising, then you may have PAD. PAD can put you at a risk of a heart attack or stroke. If you or a loved one has any of these symptoms, call today or visit mivcmd.com for more information.